The new profile tools in EnRoute also work well with fills, and so if I select these contours and get into the hatch fill, I can add a 1/4 inch tool for the fill tool, and then when I select the profile tool, it recognizes that it wants to be a clean tool, and so I give it depth, and it creates the fill just like you would expect it to do with the proper offsets and everything. So if I simulate this, let's look at kind of the effect that I get here. And again, the nice thing is being able to simulate that tool and getting an accurate representation of what the finished piece is going to look like. I have animation turned on just so we kind of get an idea of what it's doing here. Okay, so once I create the fill, then you get results that are probably pretty familiar. But one of the things that we've noticed over the years, of course, or that other users have noticed, is that the inside corners are rounded based on the shape of the tool, and so even the outside corners are rounded as the toolpath goes around the corner. And so that's always something that from a end customer standpoint is sort of a tip-off that this piece and maybe a cabinet door or something like that was cut on a CNC machine, and has sort of been seen as a limitation of using shaping tools on, say, MDF doors to create this type of a piece. And it's not a huge problem. It's aesthetically, it's not bad. It's just an indication that that's how that door was created, or how that piece was created. And so we spent some time thinking about how we might be able to modify that and give it more of a look with the square inside corners and square outside corners on the fill like this, so that it gives it maybe more of a look that it was created in traditional woodworking methods, so a 5-piece door, say, for example. And so it's not a simple problem to solve, but we know the shape of the tool, and we know kind of what needs to happen in the corners. And so if I come in here and, whoops, I'm going to delete these tool paths and select this again. Now when I get into this fill, I've got the fill tool, I've got a clean tool. If I come in and select another tool, EnRoute recognizes that that wants to be a fine tool, and in this case I'm using a small diameter ball end mill, and I'm going to come in and change the overlap, give it a little bit more overlap. And when I click OK, what EnRoute does is it recognizes that combination, a fill, a profile tool as a clean tool, and then another tool as the fine tool, changes the way the fill wants to be created. And what it does is it uses that fine tool in the corners to accomplish what it is we were trying to accomplish. And if we zoom in here, you can see that the shape of the fine has changed to kind of fill the whole corner, and then the overlap parameters that I used were used. So let's look at this in the perspective view. And what EnRoute has done is it has created a relief that is in the shape of the corner using the profile of the tool. So it uses the profile of the tool and then creates a representative surface of that square inside corner, and then applies the ball end tool to that surface in order to emulate that square inside corner. And it automatically finds the corners where that's appropriate. So similar to the way that a fine tool works, a traditional fine tool. So it has found all of these corners and automatically created that. And remember, all I needed to do, I didn't have to really tell EnRoute anything when I created the tool paths. All I needed to do was to add that fine tool in, and it automatically made the decision to create it as a fine tool and then to create those what we call the corner fine tool paths, which define that. So let's simulate that and see what that looks like. So I'm going to select that contour and do the same thing that we did before. So there's the profile tool, the fill tool. Slow it down just a tiny bit, and then we have the corner fine tool. So you see them coming in and squaring up the corners in each of the corners. So just by selecting that tool along with our profile tool, we didn't have to do anything else. And the other thing that you notice is the outside corners have also been squared up too. So the shape of the toolpath changed automatically with that corner fine. And now we have outside square corners, we have inside square corners, and the overall aesthetic of the finished piece has been changed pretty significantly. Now it has much more of a five-piece door look to it automatically, has much more of a kind of a traditional woodworking shape to things. And from the user standpoint, all that was necessary was to select that corner fine tool that he wanted to use, that I wanted to use when I created that. So it's a pretty cool addition to the fill tool, and it works with both hatch fill and island fill automatically. Just select the fill tool, the profile tool that you're going to use as the clean tool, and then the tool that you're going to use as the fine tool. And it can be either a ball-end tool or an in-mill tool, and EnRoute will recognize that as the fine tool. In some of the testing that we've done, it's a little debatable which tool gives the better finished surface. The ball-end tool does better on rounded surfaces. The in-mill tool does better when there's vertical sides and that sort of thing. And so my opinion is the ball-end tool works better, but it's a little bit debatable. So that's something users will be able to experiment with and find the right combination. But it's a nice sort of automatic cleanup thing that the fill tool will do automatically, and so